Hello and welcome to Find Names for the Temple, Part 6, Reserve Temple Work. Today I'm going to talk a little bit about who you can reserve temple work for and how to do it. So who can you do temple ordinances for? Well, there's quite a long list. You can reserve temple ordinances for your own family and your own direct ancestors. That's who we are responsible for. But we are also able to do ordinance work for our biological, adoptive, step, and foster family lines that are connected to your family. And then we can branch out even further and go to collateral family lines, uncles, aunts, cousins, and their families. You can do descendants of your ancestors, so all the descendants of one ancestral couple, and those are your cousins. And you can do your own descendants. And lastly, which I think is really interesting, is that it is allowed to do temple work for possible ancestors. And the way you do that is you find out the small geographic location where your ancestor lived, that's proven, a proven ancestor. And then if you find other individuals with the same last name in that area that it's probable that they're connected to your relative, but you don't have enough records to prove it, then it's okay to do temple work for those individuals as well. Here is my family tree, and my 5th great grandmother is Mary Powderell Bradley. I did a research project to discover more about her descendants. My great 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 grandfather is Thomas Bradley, and his brother is Pierce Sumter Bradley. So my research project was to discover Pierce Bradley's children, and I was able to find a lot of his children. Here they are. And now green temples appear showing that I can reserve the temple work for them. So the question is, who in this view can I reserve temple work for according to the guidelines? Well, we know that we can do collateral family lines. So Pierce would be my 4th great uncle. So I can do his temple work because he's a collateral family line, uncles, aunts, and cousins. All of the children of Pierce would be descendants of my ancestor Mary, so that would be allowed under the descendants of my ancestors guideline. And then the question arises, what about Mary Jane Baldock? She married Pierce. She's the mother of these descendants. Does she count as somebody that I can do temple work for? Yes, definitely. She is an aunt. So she is my 4th great aunt because she married my 4th great uncle. What about Mary Jane's parents, who I found during the research project? They are not in my family line, so they're not my direct ancestors. They are not my collateral lines because they're not uncles or aunts. They're the parents of my aunt who married into the family. So I would not do the temple work for them, and that's just kind of my personal opinion, and I think probably everyone has their own thoughts on that. But it's up to you to kind of apply the guidelines to your family tree. And so I would do the temple work for all of Mary's descendants here. She's my direct ancestor, for my uncle and my aunt, my 4th great uncle and aunt, and their children. All right, now that we've decided that we're going to reserve temple ordinances for the descendants of my ancestor Mary, we can click on the green temple icon, and that will show us what we need to do to reserve the temple ordinances. So it's showing Walter Baldock Bradley and his birth date and his deceased, and it's showing all the ordinances that I can request, baptism, confirmation, and so forth. Click request, and then we have to review the church policy. Is this a person in the list that I can do temple work for? Yes, this is a descendant of my ancestor, so I'm following the guidelines there. And I'm not doing any famous people or these people. He wasn't born within the last 110 years, and he has been deceased for at least 1 year. So I can go ahead and click accept. Now it says that I have reserved the ordinances, and then I can go to my temple list and see all the reserved ordinances that I've done here. And it shows me the list of everyone who I've reserved and the status, not printed. So when I'm ready to print this, I can click the check mark and click print, or I can share these with the temple or share them with a family member, or I can unreserve them from here. And when you click print, you can choose if you want to print the name cards or a family ordinance request. So that is how you reserve names for the temple. Thanks for watching this video about how to reserve names for the temple and how to know who you can do temple work for. I hope you found it useful, and if you're interested in purchasing my book, How to Find Names for the Temple, a step-by-step method for success, you can find that on Amazon.com. Good luck.